Yo, what is up, everybody, and welcome. I'm going to be talking today about the new episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County. That is season 17, episode 10. Wow, we've made it to 10 weeks. That's crazy. But the episode starts out with some extreme foreshadowing because Tamra is calling Jen because they're planning a party where they're all going to draw a name out of the group and dress up as each other. And what I mean by the foreshadowing is that as they were calling each other, the editors were showing like every single scene of conflict that has happened this season. We then get the intro card and see a rundown of the women being with their kids and their pets, but the first official scene is Tamra and Eddie. Since his gym closed, he's been spending a lot of time at home and it's driving her a little bit crazy. So they're going into an office where he's going to be moving so he can spend most of his time there. It sounds mean, but I get it because it must be a little draining to see someone 24/7, even if you do love them. Then we move on to Gina and Heather. They're at a plant nursery. They mention the party that's happening, and then Heather carries the bone that Jen had said that Shannon was digging into Gina's relationship. So Gina starts to get mad at Shannon and says Shannon likes to poke at other people's relationship except her and John's. And then Heather says that Shannon is projecting. So they're basically talking about that. And then Gina tells Heather, do you see anything concerning on their relationship? Of course, Gina was trying to be nosy, but Heather sort of knows when to pump the brakes and not say too much. And I don't think it's because she cares about Shannon, but I don't think she wants to get caught in the mess too much, so she doesn't say anything. The next scene is Jen hanging out with a good friend of hers, and they're talking about Ryan because these voices have sort of filled Jen's head, a lot of doubts and concerns. And this friend knows her for a long time. Like, she was there through her ex-husband and everything. And the friend says that Ryan seems like a great guy. So why is Jen waiting to get official with him? Like, to get married? Is she scared? Does she think something's going to happen? And Jen says that she worries that Ryan will feel trapped if they do get married, and that will lead him to cheat. And she doesn't want another failed marriage. But she says that what they have right now makes her feel very happy, so why change it? And then we see a rundown of the women getting dressed up and ready for this party. Tamra is getting ready and telling her makeup artist a lot of the gossip. She tells him that she thinks that something with Shannon and Heather will come up at the party. Of course she's saying that because we all know she was the one who's going to stir the pot. Tamra, by the way, is dressing up as Heather. And then we see Shannon in her home getting ready. Shannon is dressing up as Gina. And then Vicki goes into her house and the both of them are getting ready. As Vicki is getting dressed up, she's dressing up as herself. She's not dressing up as anyone. That is the OG from the OC people. Vicki is talking about her new man. She really likes him. And then Shannon does tell Vicki that she doesn't really like Gina, even though she has to dress up as her. She likes Tamra, and she sort of likes Emily a little bit, but the stuff with Heather possibly saying something negative about her and John really is bothering her. Then Tamra is ready. She goes to Jen's house because that's where the party is happening, and Tamra looked spot on dressed up as Heather. Then Jen is dressed up as Taylor. Gina comes in dressed as Emily, and she's like even wearing like fake hips and everything. Good thing Emily didn't find that offensive, but she kind of did look like her. And then Emily arrived looking like Shannon, and Heather was dressed up as Jen. Taylor came in dressed up as Tamra, but that was a little bit disappointing. It kind of looked like she didn't really give it much effort. Shannon arrives looking like Gina, as I said, but Gina says, really? She picked the version of me when I was at my worst? She's so annoying. Then Vicki enters. She's definitely the life of the party, doing all these things, doing that handstand and the drink thing. Okay, but this was weird. Emily and Gina are talking in the kitchen just by themselves, and they're complaining about Shannon. Same thing, they feel like she doesn't want to say anything about her relationship. But then it's a little bit later and they all gather around to play some games. Tamra brings like a dirty game with cards, like asking them about, oh, do your favorite position and do this, do that. They were having fun. It did get a little bit crazy when some of the cards were saying like lick certain body parts, but they were having fun, like I said. But then that fun and the games are over, and Tamra addresses Heather directly about her saying stuff about John. But Shannon walks in and says, you know what, Heather, let's go to the side and talk about this. Shannon takes her to the side and she wants to address this now, once and for all. So Shannon says that Tamra told her that Emily was told by Gina that there was problems with John. It's all a mess. It's like a whole freaking web of people. And Heather says that she's always been neutral and she's trying to come up with excuses, of course. Shannon explains to her how private John is and how precious her relationship with him is, so she wants zero problems because he's very private. So Heather throws all the girls under the bus and says that they have all talked about it. And to be honest, that is fair. They have talked about it. But over there in the table with the other girls, Tamra asks Emily, did Heather come to you and say that she was concerned with Shannon's relationship? And Emily says yes. And then she asks the same question to Gina, and Gina says yes. And Heather overhears what's going on, and she says, what are you whispering over there, Tamra? And Tamra says, I asked them if you have spoken to them about Shannon's relationship. And Heather says, well, you should ask them, have they spoken about Shannon's relationship? So Emily gets heated, and Gina says, well, Shannon, to be honest, we are concerned. And in that moment, Shannon loses it. She screams to the whole group, you all know nothing about my relationship. I've never been more in love in my life. So Shannon walks out. She's cussing all of them out because she doesn't want to play their game. She's walking out. She goes into the house because the whole group was in the backyard. Emily and Tamra go to comfort her, and Shannon says, Heather just told me that she never talked about my relationship with any of y'all. And Emily and Tamra say, oh, hell no, like this is not true. So Tamra goes outside and confronts Heather. And in her confessional, though, Heather completely spills negative things about John. Like, that was not cool. She was like going at it. And Emily does too in her confessional, saying that Shannon deserves better than him. So Shannon is having her meltdown. She says, I don't know how I'm going to talk to him about this, especially since everything is so good right now. Sure, we've had arguments, but that's it. And she walks out of the house, but Emily keeps following her. Vicki comes in that moment to defend Shannon, but Emily is going off, and I don't even know what she's even really going off about. Even Vicki says, why is she getting emotional? Because Emily started like crying and whatever. But in her confessional, she does say that Shannon has called her when she's had fights with John, and he has called her things like ugly and fat, and that's why she's crying. Emily makes her way to